As we continue back-to-back tag team action, this time with the gentlemen Chris Wilde and Jeff Fortune. Wild Fortune locking it up with Niles Wickizer and the controversial Ballarat Jack Jones, the United Kingdom.
The next tag team match is scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle at a combined weight of 470 pounds, Chris Wilde and Jeff Fortune, Wild Fortune.
The boys have 12 years in and some accolades to their credit. They are two-time former tag team champions, and Chris Wilde is a Memphis Million winner. This gives them a lot of credentials going in against the United Kingdom. I don't think the UKs are going to win, except that there's one possible chance. They used that spike pile driver on Snarl in their tag team match. If they try to do that to Wild Fortune, that might turn things around.
And Jack Jones and Niles Wickizer were called on that spike pile driver in that tag team match. They maintain it's their tag team finisher, but I don't know.
Their opponents, first along with vivacious Virginia Austen from Victoria, Australia, Ballarat Jack Jones.
Let them say what they want. That tag team move is underhanded and hazardous to an opponent, and I think they should be restricted from using it. I mean, just disqualify them if they insist on using it, before they end up putting somebody on the disabled list, or worse.
Yet they used that move in the tag team match on Wildside Warren Garrett at Snarl. Luckily, Wildside Warren Garrett, Warren G, he's going to be okay, but definitely a dangerous move.
Well, every member of the United Kingdom is dangerous in their own way. Vivacious Virginia Austen included. Look at this, Ballarat Jack just doting over Virginia Austen, and it is absolutely disgusting.
And his tag team partner from Waltham Cross, UK, Niles Wickizer. Together they are the United Kingdoms.
And so it seems the only member of the UK not present for this match would be Grace Fenwick, the significant other of Niles Wickizer. Apparently Ballarat Jack content to simply have Virginia Austen at ringside. I'm not sure exactly how Niles Wickizer feels about that, but as the case may be, Niles Wickizer and Ballarat Jack are the competitors in this matchup, not the women at ringside.
Hell, just one of them's bad enough. Chris and Jeff would be all messed up if both UK ladies were at ringside.
All right, it's going to be Philadelphia native Chris Wilde facing off against Ballarat Jack Jones, starting off this tag team matchup. Referee Charles Lacera sounds the bell. Here we go. Ballarat Jack opens up with a couple of kicks on Chris Wilde, has him up in a fireman's carry, and drives a knee right into the back of Chris Wilde's head. Ballarat Jack caught up from behind by Chris Wilde. Loving blow to the chest, down goes Jack. There's a stomp to the midsection and a rolling elbow to the back. Chris Wilde immediately going for a cover here. 1, 2, just the one. Ballarat Jack rounded up immediately by Chris Wilde into a spinning neckbreaker. Jack climbs back up against the ropes, whips Chris Wilde to the UK corner, and whoa, quick counter. Ballarat Jack in the corner now, and Niles Wickizer catching it too. Chris Wilde tugging on the arm of Ballarat Jack Jones. Ballarat Jack counters with an elbow, comes out of the corner, gets a hold on Chris Wilde, forces him back into the corner. Here comes Niles Wickizer. And a double team coming up for Chris Wilde. Air assisted shoulder tackle from Niles Wickizer, taking over for the United Kingdoms. Instead of wrist clutch kicks to the ribs of Chris Wilde, he followed it up with a forearm. Niles Wickizer, extremely sadistic. There's a kick to the face. Chris Wilde taken down towards the center of the canvas. And Niles Wickizer goes to work on the arms of Chris Wilde. Drives a pair of knees into his back. Back up to a standing position before Chris. Rounds him back up and goes right back to work, repeating the same move. Wrist clutch kicks to the ribs. Wrist clutch kick to the face. Down to the canvas again. And once more, working on the arms of Chris Wilde. And again, another pair of knees into the back. Chris starting to take a serious beating here at the hands of Niles Wickheiser. A set of short staccato kicks right to the head. Wickheiser rounds him back up. Another set of short kicks, this time down to the, oh man. Niles Wickheiser with another wrist clutch knee to the head. Chris Wilde trying to make it to his corner, but there's the prevent from Niles Wickheiser. Another set of kicks to the head of Chris Wilde. Chris locked up, whipped back to the UK's corner once more. Niles Wickheiser yanking on the arm of Chris Wilde against the ropes. Gets a hold on him. Chris counters with an elbow, finds his way out of the corner. Wickheiser with a couple of kicks, but Chris Wilde putting on the brakes, takes him down to the canvas right away. There's a stomp to the arm of Niles Wickheiser as Chris Wilde wisely beats it out of town, turns it over to Jeff Fortune. Jeff Fortune charges, flying crossbody and a pin. 1, 2. Jeff Fortune goes right back to work on Niles Wickheiser with a set of stomps to the head, both front and back. Jeff Fortune counters into a dragon screw by Niles Wickheiser. Wickheiser gathers him up again. There's a wrist clutch knee and an immediate pin. 1. Only 1. Chris Wilde watching as Jeff Fortune locks it up with Niles Wickheiser. Wickheiser being escorted to the far right corner, head first into the turnbuckle goes Niles. He counters with an elbow, finds his way out, locks it up with Jeff Fortune. Fortune up over the shoulders of Niles Wickheiser and spinning discus punch. Takes Jeff Fortune down to the canvas as Ballarat Jack is brought back in. Ballarat Jack Jones taken down quickly by Jeff Fortune. I'll tell you, Ballarat Jack has taken quite a beating lately from several opponents ever since the controversial decision to get rid of Jessica Goldman and replace her with Virginia Austen. Chris Wilde back in on the tag as Ballarat Jack takes over. There's a kick to the leg. And in comes Niles Wickheiser again. Chris Wilde making his way back to a standing position. Niles charges, drives a knee right into the head of Chris Wilde. Down he goes. Chris gathered up again by Niles. Niles Wickheiser gets him back into the UK corner again. There's a kick but prevented, and right back into the corner goes Niles himself, and Ballarat Jack catching some shots as well. A cheap shot from Ballarat Jack. And right back into the corner goes Chris as Ballarat Jack Jones takes over. A tag punch right to the ribs, another shot to the body, a rebound off the ropes and a forearm taking Chris Wilde down to the mat again. And Ballarat Jack Jones gathers up Chris Wilde right back into that corner. And Chris Wilde is spending an inordinate amount of time on the wrong side of the ring. Niles Wickheiser rounds him up again over the shoulders in the fireman's carry, takes him over, and look at the, he's not going to hang him up over the top rope. Oh no, he's going to pitch him right out onto the floor and go right after Jeff Fortune with a shoulder tackle. The referee now counting Chris Wilde on the outside. Niles Wickheiser caught from behind by Chris Wilde on the outside and rolled back inside the ring quickly. But he has to get past Ballarat Jack Jones, and Ballarat Jack isn't going to let that happen. Whoa! Oh, what a lariat right there from Ballarat Jack. And off the top comes Niles Wickheiser onto Jeff Fortune. Niles Wickheiser coming to make the assist. Goes behind on Chris Wilde. Chris catches a forearm to the back of the head. And obviously that kendo stick was introduced by Virginia Austen. The United Kingdom's always getting up to no good, almost invariably a stomp to the midsection of Chris Wilde. Chris rounded up by Niles. Niles locks him up, rolls him back inside the ring. And a little bit of showboating for the fans. The UK's don't have a whole lot of fans here. Jeff Fortune brought in on the tag. Here he comes. Niles Wickheiser back inside the ring. Elbows to the midsection of Jeff Fortune from Niles Wickheiser. Niles rounds up Jeff. Whips him towards the UK corner. Turns him around and delivers a shot to the back. Slams him around, turns him around the other way. Jeff Fortune counters with both boots to the face. Quickly charges another flying crossbody to Niles Wickheiser. Chris Wilde brought back in on the tag. Niles Wickheiser standing center ring, charges, drives a knee into the head of Chris Wilde, taking him down to the canvas again. And quickly beating it out of town and turning it over to Ballarat Jack Jones. Ballarat Jack charges. Ooh, running kick to the face of Chris Wilde, and here's a quick pin from Jack. 1, 2. Oh, nope. Chris Wilde getting the left shoulder up. Jack has to start from 0. Gets a hold on Chris. Right back into that UK corner. Again, a kick to the ribs. Sat up on the top turnbuckle by Ballarat Jack and shoved right up the top turnbuckle down onto the floor and at the feet of Niles Wickheiser as Ballarat Jack turns his attention to Jeff Fortune with beats of the Bulger and 10 count punches across the chest. Chris Wilde rolled back into the ring by Niles Wickheiser. Ballarat Jack takes out Jeff Fortune. Rolls over Chris Wilde, gets a pin. 1, 2. Again, no, Chris Wilde. Again, powering out of the pin. Ballarat Jack Jones rounds him up, drives the knee right into the face again. Chris Wilde in trouble, no partner at his corner. As Ballarat Jack whips him right back into that UK corner again. There's another kick to the ribs. There's another. Chris Wilde collapses out of the corner into the center of the ring. Ballarat Jack locks it up with Chris Wilde, whips him back into that corner. But Chris has had quite enough of that. Goes after Niles Wickheiser, turns his attention back to Ballarat Jack, rounds him up and sets him up into a tree of woe. Are you kidding me? Look at this. Driving knees into the midsection the hard way, upside down. And Ballarat Jack collapses out towards center as Jeff Fortune is brought in on the tag. Jeff charges, misses the crossbody that time. Ballarat Jack whips him towards the ropes, and there's a forearm that doesn't quite find the mark. There's a shot to the body that does. Another. Jeff Fortune on the ropes and being battered by Ballarat Jack. A rebound off the ropes and a kick right to the side of the head. Ballarat Jack is playing some martial arts style moves here. Jeff Fortune into the UK corner as Niles Wickheiser is brought in on the tag. Double team coming up for Jeff. No, we saw this recently. Here we go. There's that spike pile driver again. This could be catastrophic for Wild Fortune. Here's the pin. 1. But Chris Wilde, we just lost the referee. Charles Lacera is down. And that means there's no order to be restored here. As Ballarat Jack is butting on the tag, the ref didn't even see it. There's a clubbing blow to the back of the head. Jeff shoves him away with both boots. Charles Lacera still not stirring as Jeff Fortune starts to try and turn things around here. Gets a hold on Ballarat Jack Jones. Referee still gone. Whip to the far right corner. Jeff Fortune moves in on Jack Jones. Has him up. Hangs him up into the tree of woe yet again. This time in another corner. But he counters with a quick kick to the head. Turns himself around. Gets a hold on Jeff Fortune. Fortune catches another short lariat. Taken down. That's a painful clothesline. Off the top moonsault. Right to the back of Jeff Fortune. Ballarat Jack Jones gathers him up over the shoulders into the powerbomb, flips him over, and then drives a knee into the head of Jeff Fortune. As the United Kingdom start to pull away here, Jeff whips back into the corner of the UK's. There's a kick to the ribs. Jack Jones off the middle rope. There's another kick to the side of the head of Jeff Fortune as Niles Wickheiser comes in once more. Virginia Austen looking on at a fallen Jeff Fortune. Niles Wickheiser with running forearms right to the face. Swings and misses the kick. Jeff Fortune takes him down. Whips him into the corner. Jeff Fortune up on the middle rope, about to lay in some 10-count punches on Niles Wickheiser. Wick counters. Finds his way out of the corner. Gets a hold on Jeff. Forces him right back into that UK corner, but he says nothing doing. He counters it. Goes after Ballarat Jack, hangs him up the top rope, and down Jeff Fortune. Just going all kinds of off on the United Kingdoms as Chris Wilde is brought in on the tag. They're turning this one around pretty quick. Niles Wickheiser still in his own team's corner, comes out. He's getting into it with Virginia Austen. There's an elbow to the face. Chris Wilde backed off, and there's a wicked kick right to the face of Chris Wilde. Niles moves in on a stunned Chris Wilde, takes himself up off the middle rope, misses with that, and Chris Wilde tags him with a drop kick, taking him down to the mat. Chris Wilde locks it up with Niles Wickheiser. A jawbreaker that takes him down hard. Chris is hard lefts to the back of the head of Niles Wickheiser as he makes his way up to the middle rope here, and here we go. Leg drop right across the chest. Niles Wickheiser laid out. Chris Wilde quickly pins one. But Ballarat Jack there to break it up and save the match for his team. As Jeff Fortune is brought in on the tag, ready to face a laid out and helpless Niles Wickheiser. Chris rounds him up over this. Look at this right here. What's he gonna do here? Oh man! Oh, what a nasty slam! Face first into the mat goes Wickheiser. Here's a pin from Jeff Fortune. 1, 2, 3. Well, sir, what an upset right here! Wild Fortune picking up a win over the UK.
Here's the time, 12 minutes and 34 seconds. And your winners, Wild Fortune.
And so the 12-year veteran tag team of Chris Wilde and Jeff Fortune picking up a surprise win. I wouldn't necessarily call it an upset, but certainly a surprise win over the United Kingdoms, who seem to be in control of this matchup, but Chris Wilde and Jeff Fortune just snatching that right out of their hands as Jeff Fortune picking up the win with that beautiful finisher. Let's have another look at it on the replay here. Yes, sir, Niles Wickheiser taken up over the shoulders of Jeff Fortune and slammed face first into the canvas. Ladies and gentlemen, our main event when we return.